Thank you very much, Peter. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Our Ocean Wealth Summit here in Galway. A couple of people I'd like to acknowledge. First of all, Mayor of Galway, Pierce Flannery, my colleague, Minister of State Sean Kine, Deputy Hildegard Naughton, councillors, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to thank InUIG, President Jimmy Brown, for facilitating this conference on the campus of InUIG. It's a tremendous location, and I suppose it sits comfortably here given the lead role that InUIG has played in the area of marine research and innovation over many years. I'd like to acknowledge Peter and his team in the context of putting together this very interesting conference. Peter obviously leads from the front. This is a bit of a mutual admiration society, Peter. Thank you very much for the kind words. But I think it's equally important to acknowledge the team around him who behind the scenes have really, put all the moving parts together in a very coherent and interesting fashion. Thank you very much to them. And obviously without an anchor commercial sponsor, things like this are very difficult to run, and I'd like to acknowledge the role in that context that PwC and Declan MacDonald played in that regard. Thank you very much indeed. Now in its fourth year, our Ocean Wealth Summit forms a key part of the government's ongoing implementation of the integrated plan for Ireland's marine sector, Harnessing Our Ocean Wealth, which has now been in place for almost 5 years. Each year, this event brings together world-renowned speakers, industry experts and the Irish business and marine search community for focused discussions. We continue this year with the theme of rethinking boundaries and innovation for a sustainable marine economy. Today's conference will consider how Ireland can innovate across our marine sectors, challenging us to drive forward in new, creative and importantly in sustainable ways. With us during the first session today is Andrew McDougall of the European Investment Bank, who will outline the opportunities that exist for Ireland's marine sector in light of European investment strategies. Andrew's presence here with us this morning is indicative of the progress that Ireland has made in reimagining the marine economy to a point where new investment in the sector is now seen as viable, desirable and profitable. We're delighted to welcome back Olivia O'Leary as moderator. Olivia will be speaking with some of today's leading contributors such as Tom Kelly, Tara McCarthy of Bord Bia, Jim O'Toole, BIM and Terry Garcia. We're very grateful to you, along with our distinguished panel members, for being with us today. I also want to welcome the Atlantic Ocean Research Alliance representatives from Canada and the United States of America and the European Union. A very special thank you again to Professor Jim Brown for his generosity and support. Our appreciation also to the sponsors, including PwC, Galway City Council, and also to other departments and agencies and organisations for their contribution to the success of the summit and the broader Sea Festival elements. I also want to pay tribute, as I said, to the Marine Institute and to Peter Heffernan, and indeed to my own Marine Coordination interdepartmental officials who have been responsible for the Sea Fest and indeed the organisation of this event. I mentioned that it has been 5 years since the government first published Harnessing Our Ocean Wealth, Ireland's first ever blueprint for the marine economy. Its vision is to develop Ireland's marine economy and to turn Ireland as a nation back to the sea and to our long-established maritime roots and traditions. We should be proud of what has been an incredible 5-year period for our marine sector. To put this in context, let's take a brief look at the very positive figures which we are publishing today, provided by the Socioeconomic Research Unit, CIMRU, based here at InUIG Galway. In 2016, Ireland's ocean economy had a turnover of 5.7 billion euros and a direct economic value of 1.8 billion, or approximately 0.9% of GDP. It provided employment to 30,000 people, full-time jobs. Compared to 2014, 2016 saw a 23% increase in turnover, a 20% increase in gross value added, a 10% increase in employment. The established marine sectors account for 94% of the ocean economy, and over the period 2014 to 2016, these sectors increased by 9%, while emerging marine sectors increased by 23%. General trends in the Irish economy are inevitably reflected in the ocean economy. However, Cymru's latest report shows that Ireland's ocean economy keeps performing, on average, better than the general economy. While growth in Irish GDP from 2012 to 2014 was approximately 8%, the ocean economy grew by over 19%. Estimates suggest that gross value added rates in Ireland's ocean economy for the period 2014 to 2016 are approximately 20%. In terms of the indirect impact of the marine sector, Cymru research shows an indirect gross value added of €1.57 billion, giving a total of €3.37 billion, representing 1.7% of GDP. All figures, but I think anybody who's in touch with the ocean economy in all its manifestations have seen the practical manifestation of those figures over the last number of years, the confidence in the sector. And I had the opportunity last night to attend the Marine Industry Awards here in Galway. And there again, it was clearly obvious that this is a sector on the crest of a wave, if you pardon the pun, and enjoying its moment in the sun. And that is right and proper, I think, for a maritime nation with a proud maritime history. In terms of turnover, this means for every €100 from Ireland's ocean economy, a further €78 is created in other sectors as a knock-on effect. In terms of employment, for every 100 maritime jobs, a further 75 jobs are created indirectly in other parts of Ireland's economy. So how does this sit with our overall harnessing our ocean wealth targets? These targets of a turnover of €6.4 billion, this figure is now already at €5.7 billion, and research is showing that Ireland is moving steadily towards its 2030 target of €6.4 billion. This progress is a tribute to the combined efforts of public and private sectors in the marine area. In particular, I would like to pay tribute to our public sector marine and development agencies, coordinated by the Marine Institute and government departments who are part of the Marine Coordination Group. The Marine Coordination Group offered a new vision for Ireland's marine sector in 2012 at a time when Ireland was emerging from one of the worst recessions in recent history. In addition, many private sector companies, individuals and academia experts and business leaders have worked side by side with our agencies to turn Ireland's radical vision for the sector into a period of real growth for the marine area and more jobs for Irish people. This is very significant progress. We can and should be proud of what has been achieved to date, but in these challenging times, we can't be complacent. The marine, of course, is not impervious to one of the biggest challenges we face, namely Brexit. However, this feedback on the marine economy gives us the confidence to face the challenges which lie ahead, and with a combined and coordinated effort by private and public sectors, the marine sector can continue to grow in the coming years. In keeping with the theme of rethinking boundaries, Ireland continues to embrace its role in the international maritime sector. Ireland was chair of the Atlantic Strategy Group in 2016 and is currently vice chair of the Oslo Paris Commission. Ireland was an active participant in the recent United Nations Ocean Focus Conference, where I'm pleased that Ireland was able to commit to the development of legislation with respect to microbead plastics, as well as the provision of funding for small island developing states. Ireland will also play a role in the internationally important Our Oceans Conference, which will be hosted by the European Union in October. The now annual and ever-expanding Seafest Maritime Festival plays a vital role in one of the main goals in harvesting our ocean wealth, which is to increase public participation and citizen engagement with the seas and oceans. It is truly a festival for everyone to enjoy. From a relatively humble beginnings in, of all places, Cork a few years back, where we had a mere 10,000 people attending, to last year when we had over 60,000 attendees. This year we are hoping to far exceed that record number. This year's festival includes an exciting lineup of attractions, including Powerfly's world champion flyboarders, the tall ship, the Phoenix, boat tours, a showcase of the finest of Irish seafood by Bord Iascaigh and Bord Bia, and a range of activities showcasing the mysteries of the ocean. Seafest 2017, in conjunction with INUI Galway, the Norwegian Embassy in Ireland, and the Athy Heritage Museum, is also hosting Cold Recall, Reflections of a Polar Explorer, a travelling poster exhibit that presents images from one of the greatest adventures of the early 20th century, the race to the South Pole. Away from the public events, Seafest also includes a range of industry events, some of which were held yesterday, focusing on research, the marine industry and marine technology. These events, which are now an integral part of Seafest, are often where the real business side of Seafest is done, where future jobs are created and opportunities become a reality. The Marine Coordination Group has produced the annual Harnessing Our Ocean Wealth Progress Review Report for 2016, which you all have in your conference pack today. I want to thank all who contributed to this document, and in particular thanks to the editorial team from the Marine Institute. Our review shows us that 2016 was a very positive year for the annual Wealth, for the annual Our Ocean Wealth Conference and Seafest, Ireland's National Maritime Festival, held in Galway with an attendance of over 60,000 people. The Atlantic Stakeholder Conference was held in Croke Park on the 27th of September with over 480 mainly international delegates attending. The Irish Marine Industry Network was launched by Enterprise Ireland on the 30th of November to position Ireland at the forefront of marine innovation. The Maritime Spatial Planning Directive was transposed into Irish law by the Minister for Housing, Planning, Community and Local Government. The Smart Bay Subsea Observatory began streaming high-speed data from the seabed at Galway Bay to businesses, researchers, scientists and policymakers across the internet. The Atlantic Margin Oil and Gas Exploration Licensing Round opened for licensing all of Ireland's major Atlantic basins, Porcupine, Goban Spur, Slane, Erris, Donegal and Rockall, and in 2016 a total of 28 licensing options were awarded. Under Ireland's Offshore Renewable Energy Development Plan, 17 new projects were awarded funding through the SAEI Ocean Energy Prototype Development, and the Lear Deep Ocean Modelling Tank was commissioned for the testing of ocean energy and floating offshore wind technologies. A new naval service vessel, L.E. William Butler Yeats, was commissioned in Galway. A Marine Campus Incubation Centre call for expressions of interest from third-level institutions was issued by Enterprise Ireland. Ireland's first Marine Science Gallery was opened in conjunction with Galway City Council, and I had the privilege of attending that opening some weeks back, and I would encourage people who are visiting Seafest to visit that exhibition centre, particularly for children. It's an interactive experience which I think brings to life the real wonders of the ocean in all its charms and offerings. It's a really wonderful facility, and congratulations to all involved. I'm delighted to announce that the new Marine Research and Innovation Strategy to 2021 was endorsed by Cabinet this week and is being published today by the Marine Institute. The strategy articulates three main goals: to raise research capacity across a range of marine-related research teams, to target research funding to topics matching requirements articulated in state policies and sectoral plans, and to provide coherence in the approach to marine research by the various state actors involved in funding marine research. Finally, this morning, I'm obviously personally delighted to mention that Cork City has been chosen as the host city for the European Maritime Day in 2020. This will be the first time that Ireland has hosted this flagship event, and will be well located in Cork as a vibrant, bustling port city with a dynamic and energetic marine community, as well as a rich maritime history. European Maritime Day in 2020 will coincide with the 300th anniversary of the Royal Cork Yacht Club, widely acknowledged as the oldest yacht club in the European Union. In conjunction with the conference, our National Maritime Festival, Seafest, will take place in Cork at the same time. Ireland's ocean economy is now a growing and increasingly much more vibrant part of the Irish economy, and the new socioeconomic data shows us that we've been making real progress in developing our marine sector, but more remains to be achieved. We need to be innovative, progressive, and open to ideas to continuously challenge ourselves to meet and exceed our targets so that Ireland's marine sector reaches its full potential, particularly in the face of challenges in the context of Brexit, etc. We have public financial tools, such as the European Union's European Maritime and Fisheries Fund, but we also need investors to be aware of the opportunities which exist, and agencies like the IDA, Enterprise Ireland and others showcasing Ireland's marine sector. I hope you have a very interesting day here at NUIG, and hope you get to experience all that Seafest has to offer over the weekend. Thank you very much.